Welcome to the Misfit Cycle 2 podcast, episode 16.
Thanks, Austin. See you later. Hey, guys.
In turnoff.
How's everybody doing today?
Doing all right.
I think we're going to talk about Cycle 2 today, what to expect, the direction the blog's going at this point in the season. We'll talk about everything from the Metcons, the interval pieces, the bitch work, the lifting, and then we will take some time to do some questions and answers. But before we get started, Drew, you got some dates to announce to everybody?
We do. CrossFit XY in Iceland, September 18th through the 20th. CrossFit Clue in New Jersey, October 2nd through the 4th. Deca CrossFit in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, October 16th through the 18th. CrossFit 503 in Portland, Oregon, November 13th through the 15th. SPSC CrossFit in St. Petersburg, Florida, December 4th through the 6th. And a little birdie told me that we might be in San Antonio and Pennsylvania in January. So you guys can keep your eyes out for that announcement.
It's a lot of camps.
It's a lot of camps. You better get there.
Anything else you two boys want to jump into before we start talking about Cycle 2?
Let's dive right in.
You excited about football season?
Yes.
Yeah?
Can't wait.
You see my hat? Can you see my hat, Ted?
It's terrible.
It's high def, right? Yeah. I even before it was, I hadn't worn it in a while, so it was in my car, and there's a little bit of dog hair on it. So I looked homeless at work earlier, but then I got the lint roller out, and I was checking myself out in the mirror. So I just wanted you guys to. Yes, Greg was confused as to why our colors are purple and black, which is the arch nemesis Ravens colors of the Pittsburgh Steelers. I know it's confusing. I'm sorry. I'm also a Lakers fan. None of it makes sense.
I think that's the only reason they follow up in DECA, though, because Greg is a hardcore Ravens fan. So
whatever it takes.
All right. So let's talk about Cycle 2. So Cycle 1, wrapping up. We're in the middle of test week right now as we film this. And we'll talk first about what the tests are going to be for Cycle 2. So without giving away the WODs themselves, Drew, you want to talk about what they're going to be lifting and what their goals for Cycle 2 are going to be on the lifts for test week?
Yes. The old article that you guys have been reading that's been linked to in the post throughout Cycle 1 says that Cycle 2 is an all-out Oli party or something to that nature. So you're going to be doing a lot of Olympic lifting, and the test lifts show that. Basically everything that you're testing could be applied directly to the Olympic lifts. So be ready to pull from the floor and put weight overhead.
That's pretty simple. Cycle 2 is going to build upon Cycle 1's time we spent building the engine. So we spent all that time with bitch work, doing repeats, intervals, a lot of monostructural stuff. In Cycle 2, we want you to be able to get up and go a little faster. So it's more about the power than the long-term repeatability. So the sort of things we're going to be testing in Cycle 2 will be shorter duration sprints. One of the pieces, for example, will be 50 calories for time on the bike. Another piece will be 3 gassers, which is a 100-yard sprint out and a 100-yard sprint right back, so 200 yards total. You'll do that 3 times and find your average. We'll be testing box jump height. We'll be testing the same old WODs that we're used to putting out there, CrossFit style stuff with some higher skill. This cycle, we're going to start doing the gymnastics under fatigue a lot more instead of just by themselves trying to clean them up. So that's what you can expect in test week. So breaking down kind of the training itself, I'm going to start with the accessories. So we know that we're focusing on a lot of Olympic lifting and taking that raw strength we built from Cycle 1 and putting speed behind it to create power. The accessories are hopefully going to help with that stuff. So for instance, if you couldn't guess, the sleds will be back. So we spent a lot of time in the off season with sleds and took a pretty decent break with them, using them more for recovery than anything else during Cycle 1. And now in Cycle 2, you were going to see them quite a bit again, probably upwards of 3 days a week out of the 5. So that will be in the accessory and some in the warm-up. We'll also start to work on overhead position a lot more. So in both the lifting and the accessory stuff, we're going to find stuff like overhead squat, bottom position work, and overhead work. We're going to find overhead yoke carries, so people are going to have to put some weight on and learn how to stabilize things overhead for longer than just holding a jerk over their head. We're going to do more handstand work as always, things of that nature, so try to stabilize that. We also will be doing some more of the lactic style training, so Drew has written up some wall sits and kind of like split holds, if you want to explain those a little bit, lunge holds.
Yeah, the lunge hold is basically just it's almost like the bottom of a really good split jerk, knee a little bit closer to the ground. Basically, when you're doing a lunge just before your kneecap would kiss off the ground. There's a lot of studies showing that holds in wall sits and holds in lunges can help people that really struggle with developing the slow twitch fiber muscles, develop a little bit more muscular endurance. So we're going to test it out on specific days that it applies to as an accessory, like a back squat day.
So those should be fun, right? Holding a wall sit for 6 minutes at a time. That should be
7.
very exciting. Or 7. Great. Hope you guys enjoy that.
So glad I'm all slow twitch.
What's that?
So I'm so glad I'm all slow twitch. I have to do that terribleness.
That's what your girlfriend said.
Oh, snap.
Not funny.
For the first time ever, we're going to have swimming on the blog. So we may have put it in the past for regionals work or games training, but for the blog, it'll be a non-mandatory piece. Every day 3, there actually is going to be a swimming workout. And in my opinion, this is beneficial for a couple reasons. One, getting in the water is a whole lot less kind of demanding than maybe running constantly or getting on the bike and really burning yourself out. That range of motion through the water can actually help recover other parts of your hip and leg while training some conditioning stuff. What do you guys think about adding swimming?
I like it. Is it open water, ocean swimming?
That's to be determined.
All right.
Not everyone has access to that, so I can't tell people in the central of the country to go jump in the ocean.
Let's go jump in a dirty old river.
It's also really hard to ride an actual WOD
Yeah.
with ocean swimming.
So the swims will usually be measured in distance, maybe occasionally time, but usually distance. A pool's fine. Most people are not going to the games this year, so most of our thousands and thousands of followers are not going to take those 40 places that they can get to the games.
Is it RX if Sherb wears floaties?
It's
Or a
RX
Speedo.
Plus, actually. I think that would slow them down a little bit.
Speedo?
A Speedo?
Yeah, is that all right?
Style points, but that's about it.
Gotta shave down.
I think it's important for the swim that people realize that you guys go so hard in the gym every day that the swim workout, it allows you to get a good workout, allows you to feel like you exerted yourself a little bit, but it does have that low impact. So if you are, on the borderline, you are planning on making the games, obviously it has a different purpose. But just because you won't be making the games or, you don't think that you will, definitely take those seriously because you can get a lot out of it. It's pretty helpful.
I usually feel actually better, even no matter how hard I work in the pool or in the lake or whatever, I feel better after a swim WOD than I did before going in, no matter how sore I am and no matter how hard I work. So for me, it has that benefit to it. Anything else about swimming, Cycle 2, people to think about before they jump into the pool?
I mean, it's just swimming is so hard. Like adding another thing into CrossFit that just like is so brutal. I mean, you know it works. No one ever jumps in the pool, regardless if you're good or not, and swims and does, adds in, say, dumbbell thrusters or something like that and doesn't get good benefit out of it. So I just think from purely we're trying to get in shape here standpoint, it's fantastic.
Awesome. So the bitch work will have the swimming in it. That's where you guys are going to find that this cycle. It's non-mandatory, but usually we encourage people, even if it's not their necessarily their weakness, to get in the pool anyway for the reasons we just talked about. The rest of the bitch work is going to be more on the sprinting side. So cycle 1, we had kind of longer stuff, 100 calories times 5 or 1K times whatever, and it was a lot longer on the bike or the rower or running. Most of it this cycle is going to be focused on the sprinting side of things, which is probably makes you excited and not so excited at the same time. Shorter bike intervals, shorter rowing intervals, sprinting. One example would be a 20-meter jog into a max effort 80-meter sprint to finish. So you would kind of warm up that run and then take off and go. There's going to be start and stop sprints, all kinds of things like that. Again, testing that power. Power and speed is the key, as opposed to being able to go for 30 minutes at a time in this cycle. Any other comments about bitch work this cycle?
Yes, definitely. I think that early on when we started the website, everyone knew what we meant by bitch work and what we expected out of it. I think now people want to know whether they're supposed to be gaming it or doing this or that. Like, especially with the sprint work, you're not really going to have as much of a choice now. But I mean, you should be dead at the end. You should be rolling around on the ground. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, it's not you need to know how to pace, but that's not what we're doing in the bitch work.
No.
And I'm glad that there's so much sprinting and, power work coming up, because people have been asking constantly, how should I do this? And the answer is 9 times out of 10, go, 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 go,
As fast as you can.
Pick yourself back up and see what you can accomplish the next time.
It almost seems like we're beating a dead horse by saying that because of how many times we had to answer it in cycle 1. But, I mean,
people are still asking. So.
People are still asking, and if you weren't going to pace much in cycle 1 when the intervals are a fifth to a third of the time, you're definitely not going to pace at all in cycle 2. So there's no room for taking it easy for the first little bit and then turning it on. It's go from the start. And like I tell my athletes when they're running, run like you're on fire. Just run until it goes out, and that's it.
You don't get points for participation, so
no.
You have to go to get anything out of this. You just do it to do it. Go through the motions. You don't get anything out of it, so go.
Yeah. So this cycle is kind of 2 columns from bitch work. The raw bitch work will be called bitch work. I didn't mean to say that word 3 times in 10 seconds, but I just did. The interval work will be similar to that with some gymnastics added in. So again, you're going to find a lot of that short duration sprinting, short duration biking, whatever it is, burpees, things like that, mixed in couplet and triplet style with gymnastic movement. So we may start off fairly simple. It may progress to a little higher skill. We'll have at least one very high skill day per week in there. And there'll be rest after each round or after each set, whatever it is. So it'll be interval work still. You'll go hard. You'll test the gymnastics under fatigue. Then you'll rest, and then you'll repeat. So some days that'll be mandatory. Some days just the bitch work will be mandatory. But this is a time to really start testing those gymnastic skills under fatigue, knowing that you're going to have rest after, so that you can really push again in a similar fashion as you would on just the bike or just rowing, whatever. Comments on that, guys?
Said high skill. What do you mean by high skill? Just
so,
like beyond.
for example, week 1, we're going to have ring handstand push-ups. So
more like Alex Smith complexes, things like that?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so out of the ordinary, 1 day a week, things that aren't just the simple pull-up, muscle-up, handstand push-up, a little more complexity to it. And the rest of the time, it'll be fairly straightforward progression, where we start off with lower numbers, and as we go through 5 weeks, we work into bigger and bigger sets.
Sure hope Austin learned how to do ring handstand push-ups, because last time we didn't have a clock long enough to get him through it.
Wow.
Austin's still behind the couch, right?
I don't know. He's somewhere in here.
All right.
He's all around.
He's everywhere.
He's everywhere.
Gabe, what do you think?
I mean, I think that's going to be really fun for people, because I noticed when we did the Alex Smith complex, people who really took the previous 2 cycles seriously and really worked on cleaning up their movement kind of had some of those aha moments like, wow, this is easy, and I expected this to be hard, and it was in Metcon, and so they were under fatigue. You're going to be surprised at how much work you can get done really pushing. For example, if it's a gasser and then you're going into something high skill, like, people are really going to be able to push hard, and it's going to be fun.
Fun for you.
It's going to be fun to see what people can do.
Nothing else? We good? Pretty straightforward, pretty simple stuff. We will have a column of Metcons. Again, this is something that all you guys are used to. We'll have a long day. We'll have a short day. We'll have different focuses that we won't necessarily reveal to you, but there'll be purpose behind each of the Metcons. As always, you'll get pick 1s, pick 2s, and 1 mandatory day a week where you wouldn't pick anything. So you'll be able to fill in kind of your weaknesses with what you need. The warm-up, one thing I want to talk about with the warm-up, because we go overhead so much and because we're doing so much lifting this cycle, Sherb and I sat down and we kind of thought about 5 or 6 exercises that would really help almost daily get your shoulders ready for that so that they recover correctly, so that they're warmed up correctly. Try to avoid, as you can see, the way most people sit with their shoulders kind of pulled forward all day at work. Try to open that back up so that when you do go overhead, snatch, jerk, whatever it is, that you're in some solid positions, scaps turned on, delts are turned on, all that stuff. And we're going to release the video with the release of the cycle. So you guys will see kind of a quick 3 or 4 minute prep that we put together that we want you guys to do a few days a week to try to get that ready. You want to talk about that, Sure? Most of it was actually his idea. So most of the exercises?
We're just kind of making sure that we hit the shoulder from all different angles. So we have things like the band pull-aparts like we did in Cycle 1 to make sure our scaps are rotating the way they're supposed to. We have that static handstand hold that you'll see coming up in a video soon about activating and deactivating the shoulders. A lot of the reason why a lot of us didn't get any extra reps in, is it 14.3? 14.4. 14.4. Just inactive shoulders. And just some rotational stuff. We work so much in the frontal plane with the pressing and whatnot that we don't really get a chance to do some rotation. And a lot of times we can have like shoulder impingements or just tweaks that take a little while to heal because we have a little imbalance in our shoulders. So we're really looking to kind of hit that shoulder from all different angles and make sure it's ready to go when it comes time to do a split jerk or an overhead squat.
I'm going to say the same thing in this podcast that I said in the Cycle 1 podcast. Pay attention to the way things move and work while you're doing that warm-up stuff and accessory work. You may not understand why you're catching a jerk a certain way, and then once you realize how your shoulder works and how you can stabilize yourself overhead, it's important to know how that stuff works because you can kind of activate it pre-workout and then take it into your workout. And then one more thing on just kind of Seth talked about the pick 1, pick 2, and then the mandatory day. I guess I'll let one of you two, I'll ask the question, I'll let one of you two guys answer it. I mean, what advice do you have for them now that they have more choices? Because it's very easy to say, yeah, I'll do the bitch work, with 2 seconds before I have to run out the door, or I'll do the accessory because it's easier, you know what I mean? I mean, it could be conscious, it could be subconscious. How do you pick the right things?
I always just prioritize what I need to do most. So for me, it's always going to be extra bitch work, or if it's somewhat gymnastic, like pistols or chest to bar pull-ups or muscle-ups where I know that I'm okay at them, but I could do a lot better. That's where I spend my time. But again, if you're just doing it to do it, you're not getting anything out of it. You can't just show up and just go to the gym, do all your mandatory pieces, and I have 30 seconds left. Let me try to squeeze in these sprints and do them half-ass and leave and not really get anything out of it. So it's really important that you pick things that are important to you in terms of what your weaknesses are, and then that you hit them with intensity. Because if you don't have intensity, you're still, again, wasting your time.
Well, I think they know that our hope is that they pick the ones that they should do. Mm-hmm. But my question is more along the lines of, what do you use as, motivation or whatever? I mean, I know with you, it's like, I went to regionals and then I didn't, and I'm pretty pissed about it, so I'm trying to do something about it. So you're not going to cut corners, but I think a lot of people do. So
I think especially what I do with my remote coaching clients is just kind of planning out that template at the beginning. It's pretty easy when you look at a whole day's work and you think you look at it movement to movement. You think, oh, I suck at that movement, and so you choose a piece when it may be an optional Metcon, and you really should be doing bitch work. Right, so if you come up with that plan at the beginning of the cycle, and okay, for example, if it was looking back at Sherb, if it was gymnastics kept me out of regionals, I know I need to be hitting the bitch work or the gymnastics accessory work. At least 3 days out of the 5 days. Then kind of stick to that because it's too easy to look at the optional pieces and see there's something shoulder overhead in the Metcon. I suck at that, so I'll do that, and you're really missing out on some of the gymnastics stuff.
So maybe jot down some notes on the big picture before you even go to choose the pieces, and then that way you know what your focus was supposed to be. That way you kind of don't let yourself steer in random directions the whole time.
Yep.
I think most people should know by now that you get the most bang for your buck doing a regular Metcon. So if you have to prioritize something, you're not going to get more elsewhere than you would in a Metcon. And that's for as it's written, as prescribed, regionals level or higher, kind of like the blog's written for. And as you kind of back down, I would say the Metcon would be an easy thing for the repeat regionals athlete or the games athlete to just say, if I need to add a piece, like I'm going to get something out of the Metcon 9 times out of 10. If you back it down to someone who's like, okay, I can't get through the open, I'm really close, I can't get to regionals, and you think about what's coming in interval work, you have raw conditioning mixed with gymnastics under fatigue. That is the open. That's the open, right? So if you know you're going back to regionals and you're not so worried about what you're going to do in the open, it's easy to pick the Metcon. If you're worried about getting to regionals and you're on that bubble, it's like, okay, let me make sure that my gymnastics are as clean as they can be while I'm beat to shit getting off the rower. If you're not even at that point yet where you can't do gymnastics at that point, then you're going back and you're picking the raw bitch work and you're doing conditioning to the point as hard as you can to failure, and then you're practicing gymnastics still not under fatigue if you're not to the point where you can start doing them repeatedly under fatigue. So I think it's kind of easy without going on an individual basis to say the majority of the repeat sure thing regionals athlete or games athlete can easily decide that a Metcon is starting to be the right, choice at this point in the year. The bitch work with gymnastics or the interval work would be their second choice, or maybe it's their weak movement of the week and they need to hit that. And then kind of the third choice would be, well, I just spent 6 weeks killing myself on the rower and the bike, let's start doing this other stuff. But if you don't have these skills yet, then yeah, you still need to say, okay, I'm not quite where I need to be. Let's still focus on bitch work and let's continue to clean up the gymnastics, not under fatigue at this point. So I can look at it as levels from a coaching standpoint of what should be the appropriate choice most often. Not always the case, but most often. Major flaw with that thinking? Or
That's pretty close to what I use for my remote coaching athletes too, is I determine what's appropriate based on their current skill level or standing in the open or whatever, where they are currently, and deciding which piece has the most bang for their buck. And that's pretty close to how I do it. So
cool. I think that covers the conditioning stuff for the most part for this cycle. Drew, you want to get into depth with the lifting?
I will. Wouldn't be very hard for you guys to just go back to cycle 2 from last year, or kind of the explanation of what I just said about test week to get the general idea of what we're doing. We do a lot of Olympic lifting. We continue to squat on a very regular basis. You're always going to see squatting on a regular basis from us. Strict press progresses onto the push press like it does every year. I think what's more important than exactly what it is, because you guys are going to start seeing it here pretty soon, is knowing how to tackle it. So we did the positional work so that you guys could hammer specific positions, specifically the high hang power position and the low hang position just in front of the knee, so that when you start to pull from the floor, that muscle memory is there. The problem with that logic would be if your first pull is terrible and you're not tight enough from the floor, you can't get there. You can't be set up. So it's really important that you guys hopefully have taken some videos or have training partners that have been paying attention, so that if something starts to go wrong, you can go back and look, what does my low hang position look like when I'm going from the floor to the low hang, instead of just stand all the way up in the deadlift, regather my shoulders, re-engage my midline, go back down to the low hang where we're probably in a pretty damn good position. Now we have to actually put that in motion. So that's why we do it. That's what we're looking for. That's why you will struggle if you do. So just really important to, warm up in the right positions, be quick. And then the squat work is, I don't know if this is like a trademark or something. It's fairly similar to the, I got the couch all over me. It's fairly similar to the conjugate system, but it's changed to fit CrossFitters. So if your goal was just a 1-rep max back squat, things would change. That's not the goal. The goal is to get your legs under you in a really strong way so that your first pull is better, so that you're standing up easily in your Olympic lifts, so that it transfers into a Metcon. So you will notice some similarities there, and you will notice some similarities with some of the sled work, with some of the box jump work. Really important to pay attention to some of the notes that we have on the website. You'll be doing some dynamic day squatting, which is all the way down to begin at 60%. And if you go through the motions, you will get absolutely nothing out of it. Zero, zilch. So moving with purpose, I'm sure, we'll get an opportunity here pretty soon to either repost a video of somebody doing it correctly, or we'll shoot one for you guys. But, descending under complete control, being steady, and then rocketing back up every single rep is what we're looking for. We're looking for force production. So take the time to warm yourself up. Make sure you feel good. Make sure you're doing every single rep right, and things will change. We can use Matt as an example here. He's someone that would thrive a little bit more in cycle 1 squatting because it's higher rep. Percentages I don't want to say are low because they got pretty high there. But rep after rep is something that's easier for you both physically and mentally just because of the way you're kind of put together. Whereas the speed work is something that you have to bring a pretty intense focus to if it's going to work, for it to work.
For sure. I mean, thinking about the speed work this past cycle was something I'm trying to fix, because usually, like last year when we did something similar to this, it was just like squat, it's light, why am I doing this over and over again? So we've got a video of me doing it earlier on the cycle about how to do it right, and it's just finally kind of figuring that out. Hopefully it's, lends itself to a PR coming Friday.
Funny trick for you coaches out there, that wasn't speed work we were doing at all. I was just telling you guys to lift faster because that makes you stronger. And if you were focusing on speed, there's a pretty good chance you were going to stand up with each rep, and you're going to be like, well, I finished all the sets, but they weren't that fast. Joke's on you guys. It wasn't speed work. I just wanted you to finish all of your reps.
Now they know for next year.
I know.
You gave the secret away. I think Sherb Squat's going to improve even more with the speed work just because of his mobility that's improved so much night and day from last year.
That Warmup stuff really helps. No lying there. I know it's a shameless plug, but it definitely works. So if you haven't checked it out, definitely check it out.
I wasn't trying to put a plug in there either, but
I just did.
There you go, Ramwad. So, yeah. Just in general, improving those positions are huge for someone like you. So,
and what's cool about focusing on speed after, really, like I said, kind of getting your legs under you in cycle 1 is it applies directly to the Olympic lifts, right? I mean, that's what the Olympic lifts are. After technique comes speed, and just working on your fast twitch muscles, through the sprinting, through the sled work, through the squats. If you can learn to take that mentality into your Olympic lifts and take that power that you develop into your Olympic lifts, they will change for sure.
I've seen quite a few questions, comments, and people actually going out on their own about front squats and why we don't front squat with a short answer. Do you want to kind of touch on that?
Front squats and overhead squats are excellent tests of strength. They're not the greatest strength developers. So, yes, you will front squat. You're going to squat clean twice a week. Seth, they're probably going to clean in some Metcons. They're probably going to front squat in some Metcons. So what we're doing is we're making you stronger with back squats so that you can front squat more. And every year I give in eventually and let you guys test your front squat just so you can see that it went up 30 pounds from back squatting. And even towards the open, we'll put some, maybe some with some short rests, some heavier front squats in there. But at this point in the season, unfortunately, it just doesn't make any sense. That being said, if you have a serious mobility issue with the front squat, you need to work on them, okay? But realize that it is a mobility issue and that 135 pounds can be just as beneficial for you as doing a front squat cycle. Get the barbell in the front rack, get down into the bottom position, hang out there, put yourself through the front squat, maybe as part of your back squat warm-up, but heavy front squats aren't going to do as much for you as the heavy back squats.
Do you have another one? Or
I just noticed that question quite a bit.
Cool.
There actually is. It's funny that I say there actually is overhead squat work, but it's more for that direct purpose. I know that a lot of people struggle with soft elbows or, just being in a soft kind of immobile position in the bottom of the snatch. So there is some non-mandatory overhead squat work for you guys that are struggling with that to try to develop that bottom position a little bit more.
One quick thing I just want to say about the Olympic lifting is we talk a lot about the speed, the positions, getting that power from doing all the lifts, but one thing that you really should also focus on is the finesse part of the weightlifting, and that just where you meet your bar when you're trying to catch the bar and how you catch that bounce at the bottom can be the difference between 25 pounds on your test day, standing up with the squat clean. It can be the difference between 300 and 325 is how you catch and receive the bar. Little things that are overlooked. If you're not already filming your lifts, start filming them and start to take notice of the details, whether you're over pulling and letting the bar crash on you, or whether your feet are jumping forward half an inch each time. Maybe you're not extending the hip. Just the little things. Even though we spent all that time working on positions, now that you're pulling from the floor, a lot of people's mentality change and they go, okay, I have to rip the bar off the floor, and that's the only thing they're thinking about, hoping that their good habits from last cycle will carry over. It's not always the case. It takes some time to practice that transition and to really get that bar in the hip pocket, to really receive the bar in the right position, catch that bounce, stand up with it. So just make sure that while you're doing your warm-ups, working up to those 80-90% ranges, and the drop and reset, that you're hitting the positions and that you're being smooth with it the whole time, not just ripping it and trying to develop that power. So there's definitely two sides to that coin. Just a quick note.
If you want an example of what he's talking about, maybe go look at Joe Carney's lifts. Every time I watch him lift, it looks like he's not overpowering anything, but he's moving way more weight than I can move. So maybe just go compare some of your lifts to his.
Definitely. What were you saying?
I was just saying, like, it's weightlifting's an art form. It's cool because you don't have to be that strong to look really strong. Like, you can take technique and finesse and building momentum from the floor to the hip instead of trying to have the most momentum you can an inch off the floor. You can take all of those things and you can take filming it and you can take all the positional work that we've done and turn yourself into someone who can master moving their body around a barbell. And, in CrossFit, there really isn't all that much, back squatting or strict pressing or all that stuff. So the more efficient you can learn how to be, the more you can translate it to your sport, and you can let everybody else have their 1 rep max back squat on Instagram, and, you can go to regionals or you can go to the CrossFit Games. So,
yeah, the small tweaks. Like, we all have such a wide range of skill levels and fitness levels with our remote clients we work with, and it's funny when you have a little breakthrough, especially with lifting, and they change one little position and all of a sudden the bar path is 10 times better and their catch is 10 times better, and they stand up with a weight that they couldn't even pull off the ground at one point, and they're like, oh my god, you're a superhero, how'd you know that? And it's like, just fixing the little things, and people just overlook that, think that it's about strength and pulling fast and everything, instead of just being more patient or just getting back on the heel or just meeting the bar at a better place. The simple little details, along with all the strength you've built over the last 6 weeks, will guaranteed to improve your numbers. It's just guaranteed. It's going to happen. So, yes. You guys think any other details about cycle 2 we need to talk about today?
all you people out there that take certain programs and kind of mash them together, this might be the only cycle of ours that you like. So maybe join in. We might be able to trick you into doing some actual conditioning by throwing the Olympic lifting in there. You will get better at both, guaranteed.
Yeah.
Q&A time?
I suppose. Who's going to ask the questions? I don't have my phone on me.
I'll ask the
do.
questions. I've got
All
a few
right.
different things open here. If we missed anything and Ted wants to update us, we can try. Let's try. I'll check Facebook first. There weren't any good ones when I started, but all right.
I like the first one.
Has Joe Carney ever been in a fist fight? We've talked about this with him at camp before, because Cam likes to tell everybody that he attacked someone when he was 9, and you better not fuck with him because
Ate his
of
gummy
that.
bears.
Has Joe Carney ever been in a fight?
There's no chance.
I don't think so.
Big fella here's never been in a fight.
That's true. Also true. I did shoot one arrow
What's
once.
funny is 80% of our questions, people are under the assumption that all of the people that follow the website live with us.
They do. This is one
so
big
not
house.
only do we not know the answers, but we can't ask them because they're not here. I guess that will take us into Corey Lunny's question. He's basically making fun of Cody and Joe for having CF in their Instagram handle.
Oh.
Cam, actually, I believe, was the first one, CF_Cam. You probably have one of those, don't you, Larry?
Mine says MM Sherburne.
I think
Thank you very much.
CFMM Sherburne.
Jordan doesn't
CF.
even abbreviate. He's just J CrossFit Cook or something like that,
Whoa.
right?
Yeah.
I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure.
so it's worse than you originally thought, Corey.
Sherb was L1 MM Sherb CrossFit. I love you.
Wow. 69 at the end.
69XXOXX69.
underscore.
That's definitely your old name.
Hotmail.com.
So wait, so what's his question? What's Corey's question?
That's
This
good.
question is for Joe and Cody, who are not here, but we can try to answer it
Oh,
for
I'm
them.
answering-
How good at CrossFit do I have to be before I can put CF in my Insta name? Hashtag Ask the Misfits.
You have to have had a chance to make it to the games and just kind of let it slip away. That's what you need to do. Just get there, feel what it's like to be like, I'm going to get there, and then have that ripped away. Because that makes you like, now you're a lifer. Now the rest of your focus is only focused on getting back to that moment and redeeming yourself. So
That's
the CF is the redemption.
Wow.
Maybe after next year, Corey, you can add CF to your name.
Yeah,
and
maybe
then
we'll
the
get
year after.
you. We'll get them really close, and then we'll pull the rug right from underneath him and like WOD 7 and be like, "Sorry, Corey, maybe next year." So add CF Corey Lunny.
Or Corey Lunny CF, or Corey CrossFit Lunny.
CF Lunny.
CF Lunny.
CF Lunny.
Yeah.
There it is.
That'd be incredible.
We'll take you as close as we can get you to the games, Corey, and then we'll make sure that we smash your dreams, and then you can add a CF to your name. Deal?
That's
All right,
awesome.
Misfit Athletics Instagram. What can we expect from Super City CrossFit? What can we expect with regards to the squat cycle changing? You'll be squatting twice a week. You will have a dynamic day, and you will have a max effort day. It's not actually a max effort day. We're going to ramp you guys up to a max effort 2 different times in the cycle. Travis Williams, please follow the percentages. They will work, I
He won't.
promise.
He won't.
They start at 120, right? The percentages.
He has to hit his one heavy before he gets to his percentages. So he's
You do that on max effort day.
He PRs, and then he comes
gets back down to 90?
Right.
I like it.
I don't like it.
Steve Smudge. I don't know. I don't know if
Wait.
that's Steve S. Mudge, Steve
No,
or Steve
Steve
Smudge.
Steve's Smudge.
Steve Smudge. There's okay.
That's a great Insta handle.
If you were on a boat that crashed into an island, and that island had an assault bike, and the only way you could get off the island was to pedal until you got 20,000 calories, what would be your strategy? No, you can't row 20,000 calories.
Who the hell would want to row 20,000 calories?
That'd be easy. I'd just sit on the bike and just take my time and pedal, just like I
Is it
did
just
for the
one
1,000.
person?
Said you. I don't know. all
We
of us.
each
a
have our own
collective
bike.
you?
So we're make Cam and Cody because they live
All right.
right next door.
How about this? We each have our own bike and we're racing to shore.
Last.
To 20,000
Yeah,
calories.
Dibs on last place.
Ted wins?
Sure might make it like 18,000 calories, like way ahead of us, and then just sink right in the ocean. I can't go anymore.
Nah, I love that bike.
Smoke Sherb to 10 calories and then dive in the ocean and die.
I would finish, but it would take me a month.
Gabe, how would you do?
I think I could.
Gabe would win.
I could push Sherb on that one. I'd be
To
I'd be terrible
20,000?
through like 10,000, and then
Let's make it interesting.
I'm coming for
Sure
you.
would get
I'm
so
coming
upset
for
they
you.
didn't have any snacks
Helmet
for that
bet.
period of time.
Helmet bet.
Okay, let's helmet bet
Helmet
those
bet,
two for
20,000
20,000 calories.
Who's
for
got,
time.
How long is
who's
that
got
gonna take?
24 hours? It's a full day of biking.
We got plenty of
We'll do it
time.
for charity. We'll do it for Austin's Bank.
Can I do it for, can I do it for snacks?
What's that?
Can I do it for snacks?
Yeah.
All right.
I'll
Sherb
give you
snack charity.
I'll give you a Fit Aid if you do 20,000
Fit Aid?
calories. Yes.
I'll only need like 79,000 cans after that to replenish.
All right, this one is from J.R. Eduard or J. Red Oward.
It's definitely not J. Red Howard, but try again.
Could be.
Jay Smudge.
Misfit Athletics, how do you recommend modifying Misfit programming while practicing for local and competing in online competitions? Parentheses, Team Series, Granite Games, qualifiers, WZA qualifier.
Wizza. I know.
Wadapalooza
I know.
qualifier.
It's the Wizza.
How do you work that stuff into the programming? Put it in there
Well-
and move on?
Well, What I did for 6 or so people that are competing this weekend at Granite Games was that they had to retest their lifts, but instead of retesting the Metcons, I felt pretty comfortable that they had made progress in every way, shape, and form. So I had them sub in Granite Games WODs to test instead of retesting their Metcons. Now, most competitions aren't going to fall perfectly on test week, so I would say you do as much of the program as you can. Usually competitions are on weekends, so I would say you're going to still rest Thursday, do something Friday, and then compete Saturday and Sunday. So you don't have to change that much. If you have a Metcon or two from a competition that you really think you should have a once through before going competing, then you just sub out one of the Metcons that you would do normally on the blog on like a Tuesday or Wednesday. And Friday would be more of like a get your heart rate up and then start recovering for the weekend sort of thing. But you would definitely still get in the gym, definitely still do some conditioning stuff, some extra mobility stuff, things like that. But I don't think you need to
email coach@misfitathletics.com and ask him for the upcoming month of programming so that you can adjust?
Yes.
Well, yes, as long as you're willing to pay the remote coaching fee that goes along with it.
Yes.
Yeah,
we
if you
will completely form your program for you.
And if you want to know what's coming 2, 3, 4 weeks ahead of time, all the remote coaching athletes get that. So, just saying.
Plug.
Cream.
Uh-oh. HCKS_ wants to know if it's too late to start following the program.
Yeah, sorry. I mean, we
Jeez.
started this 2.5 years ago. You're 2.5 years too late. So, yeah. We already have way too many people following, so. No. Come on. Start
The answer
tomorrow.
to the question that gets emailed and asked on the site and on Instagram all the time, just start. It doesn't matter what the cycle is. It doesn't matter. You have some semblance of your percentages. Jump right in. You know, knock the percentages down a little bit if we've gotten too high. It's not that big a deal. Jump right in. It's better than sticking with something else or trying to go backwards and morph this all together. This is for the 2016 season. You need to jump in. If you go back and try to catch up, it won't work.
Start October 2013.
It's convenient.
People have started at MFT1 before.
I feel like
That's
that
silly.
question is like, is it too late to start working on muscle ups or chest to bar pull ups? It's
Right.
like, I mean, do you want to get better? Do you want to progress? Then just start. I mean, do it. Start today.
Yeah. Eventually there'll be a test week, and no matter when you started, you'll get to be caught up with everybody once that test week rolls around. So just start.
Jay Carney, CF, wants to know how much cheese is too much cheese. This is actually for you, Matt.
There's no such thing. If you're not eating a block of 10 ounces of cheese while coaching every night, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah,
What
in case
kind?
we haven't brought this up before, he walks around while coaching affiliate classes and eats a block of cheese like an apple,
Like an apple.
and it takes about 2 minutes for him to eat an entire block of cheese.
It's delicious.
And at no point does he look disgusted with the amount of cheese he just
I
shoved in
probably
his
eat 2 or
face.
3 blocks. I only remember 1 block a day, though, so you got to do what you got to do.
Yikes.
Is that like zone blocks? So you do 4 blocks a day, right?
Like a football-sized piece of cheese.
Never stuffs you up, huh?
Never.
Wait,
Wow.
I think that might be why you have to take athletic greens.
Thomas
though.
Bills 3. What lifts will this cycle focus on, and will the aerobic work still continue like it has been?
I mean,
I think we've addressed that already.
Yeah. I think we can.
And
jump
then
right
this
past that.
question is actually for Ted. Harvin in the paint wants to know, is that blood tree sap or another substance dripping from the axe?
Cream.
Answer this question like they're not listening and it's just the Misfits.
Whoa.
Careful.
Well, say it softly and I'll what's dripping from the axe, Ted? Is it cream? Yeah, it's cream.
Ropey cream?
It's Frank Reynolds. It's Frank Reynolds' axe, and it's cream. He's actually already died. He's been filled with cream, and it's coming out of his axe.
His ass or his axe?
Jeez.
Sometimes he's a Freudian slip, bro. You know how it is. All right. We're going to try again. We're going to try another source. Sure, why don't you call Cam before bed and tell him about your day?
Because I don't want to hear about his.
Nope. If you need to rehab, prehab every day, is it all right in terms of performance to do this instead of the accessory exercises pre-warm-up?
Of course.
Wow, what? I don't understand what he's saying.
He's saying that like he has some very specific things he needs to get ready, so he subs that for the warm-up.
That's more important. If you have some customized things that work better for you as an individual, then that's what you should be doing. The warm-ups are just written because we didn't have that early last year, and people just were diving into Metcon. So we're like, well, let's just put something basic out there so that we make sure.
Didn't we start doing it for our regionals programming, and
Yes.
they all separately suggested that we put it on the website, basically?
I think so, yeah. And yeah, we just had too many people diving right into stuff or treating the bitch work like their warm up, which is not appropriate at all.
Huge mistake.
And so we just put something out there. If you don't like what we put out there, that's fine. You can do your own warm up as long as you're truly getting warm. We have no issue with any of that. We're just making mere suggestions in the warm up area, and we know that what we put out there is basically sufficient if you had no other means of warming up to then go into your first piece. So that's, yeah.
I'm going to reword this question from South Africa. That's not their handle. Their handle is Intensity Online.
Should be.
South Africa CF.
South CrossFit Africa. No. They want to know if we're redoing the Misfit Triathlon for a third time. No, we're not, but we're doing a version of it, and it does have the bike in it, and they want to know if they can use just the bike, like a road bike.
That sounds kind of cool. I just don't know what the.
Ken just retesting the same thing.
Yeah.
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 Just
I
got to try to know the time domain and maybe play
Right.
with it a little bit before, I guess. Something along those
I don't
lines.
ride a real bike enough to know like distances or anything like that for the sprint try. But yeah, I guess it would be more of a time domain thing if you know how long it takes you to bike X distance on the assault
I mean, that would
bike.
normally probably be because they don't have an assault bike or an Airdyne, so
Or maybe they're actually training for a triathlon. I don't know.
maybe.
I think the thing on that too is that you make sure that you're not like coasting down a hill during that. You're actually sprinting, sprinting on a bike.
Good point.
How do you
Um,
get back to
You need
where
to make sure
started,
that you
though?
pedal
End with it.
the entire time.
You just ditch your bike and run off after. You could do that. Then you'd have to walk back the whole way. But
Yeah, I don't know. Sounds kind of fun though. Sounds more fun than the assault bike.
we actually have a second deserted island question.
Are you kidding?
Matt Wall, if the coaches were trapped on a deserted island together, who would survive the longest?
Wow.
Cam gave an answer. Want to give what it is?
He says definitely not me because there would be too much gluten.
Who said that?
Cam
Oh,
on the island.
Wait,
Yeah.
since when is Cam wait, is it a coach or athletes?
No, he's
Talk about-
answer. He's giving
answering
his
the
opinion
question.
on me personally.
Oh.
Each person has to give an answer. Are you allowed to say yourself?
I would say, yeah. I mean, I like to believe that, yeah, it would be, what's that book you have to read in high school?
Lord of the Flies?
Yeah, just Lord of the Flies, the shit out
You'd
of
be the
everybody.
dude with the conch and the painted face and stuff?
Yeah. I would go crazy
reads
really
books?
quick, too.
Ted would win. I would win. Seth would win.
I would trap you guys in nets and then use you as bait to kill my animals.
I mean, I'm
Not
not
if
I'm
I
not
trapped
scared
you
to
in the
eat
net.
bugs and stuff, so I think
That's
I
the
might
closest
have
to
a
Frank
chance.
Reynolds we have, so. Wait, you can eat rocks?
It's on an island, so if I
Do we all agree that Sherb wouldn't?
Oh, no chance.
I
Sherb
think-
I disappeared day one. You'd never see me again.
Sherb would be...
You'd die from not eating any
I'd-
snacks.
I'd
He would be
disappear.
like Mac. I pledge my allegiance to you. Oh, wait a minute. No, I think Gabe's gonna win. I now pledge my allegiance to you. And he would
Whatever
try to play
works.
both sides until
Whatever
that's
works.
that. No, sorry. You'd be the first out.
So we're pretty sure Sherb wouldn't win. I guess that's the only consensus that we have.
Gabe
It's a
could
mistake.
win.
I
Gabe
mean, I
could
think
win.
of
Gabe
all
could
of us-
disappear, like dig a hole
Right.
and get in it and just lay there
I
for
would
like a
definitely
month.
cover myself in mud and yeah.
You're already. Never mind.
No, it's to keep the sun off.
No, it's
come
not.
on, dude.
Although
I thought
we,
it was to make
we
you brown.
saw it took like 4 days for Gabe to lose like 56 pounds or whatever when he couldn't eat. So
When
you
he
might
had a
He'd be a
deep
human
throat.
skeleton.
When he
I
had a
didn't
deep
eat for
throat
2
injury.
weeks and I
Yeah.
still survived. So I mean,
You need a deep throat massage. my
But you
friend.
also
Easy,
disappeared. You
easy.
turned into a skeleton in like 2 weeks, and you were
That's too
you were
much.
about done. You were
This
frail.
is the
All
first
right.
and hopefully not last podcast where deep throat massage.
Gabe
was
needs
used.
one.
I think Seth is out because he would not have a Corby to cook any meals for
That's
him.
a good point.
Or Quest bars they'll survive on.
That's an excellent
I
point
think
as well.
Make his own.
Drew could not puree his food, so he's out.
That's true.
Choke on everything. Gag.
Yeah, I would choke and die on the first day trying to eat solid food.
Sherb would probably do like 3 workouts the first day and then die of dehydration.
They catch us. If they find us, I got to be ready for the open. Dead.
He would fall from a branch of a tree trying to do pull-ups or whatever and break his neck. Help me. No.
All right, we're going to take 2 more. Shawnee Mack, 21. What is the intention/meaning behind whatever is to come in cycle 2? I'm sure you're going to address this, but a thorough response would be appreciated. Also, I know as an athlete, I love you guys. No, I love when you guys give us an intention with the WOD and bitch work. More of that would be greatly appreciated, even if it's minor. Thanks in advance.
Well, the intention I think we can talk about in the near future. We may have plans of expanding upon the explanation of each and every piece every day, but that's kind of a topic for a different day. So there will be that option in the future to get more info. What were the other parts? I don't know.
You already covered them.
Okay. So
Thanks, Shawnee Mack, 21. Marco, CrossFit, so he's been really close to the games. WC.
World class.
Any tips on athletes with tight schedules? It's tough getting in volume being a college student, keeping up the bitch work and most of the barbell lifting every week was the priority because of it being a weakness. I hate not being able to do every single piece each day, and I feel like I miss out, but I definitely do what I feel like I need to do. Otherwise, thanks for the awesome programming. I think having the structure was something that I missed last year, being able to qualify from regionals. Can't wait for cycle 2.
Put him in touch with Joe Carney.
I mean, he kind of answered his own question. It was almost like a therapy session.
He did.
He answered his own question going through. If you're doing the things that you have to and you're making it a priority and you're working your ass off, that's the absolute best that you can do.
And whatever piece kept Shawnee CF out of the games, that would be what you prioritize
Exactly.
with your extra time. Oh,
Yeah, that was Marco.
Oh, damn it. Marco CF.
I think that's it for the questions.
Wow. There must be more topics we're not covering.
This is the sweatiest podcast ever.
bad.
I don't even want to see underneath this couch where I'm sitting
This
right
shirt
now.
has been soaked and dried 3 times. already
Austin's under
today.
the couch getting soaked by Sherp's dong sweat.
Oh, God. I'm not sitting on that couch ever again. It's
This
now
couch has been
Sherp's
ruined
couch.
for since it got here.
Oh,
basically,
this couch is in terrible shape. Oh, that's it? Really? All right. Okay. Until next time, like, follow, subscribe, share. I'm going to throw that one in there. Post more. Hashtag things like Misfit Athletics. At mention us in things. And we'll see you next time. Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.